What if I told you that Nobara has a 100% way to one-shot Sukuna? And I mean 20 fingers, full-powered Sukuna. Not only can she one-shot him, but she can actually kill him faster than any other character in the series, and that includes Gojo as well. And again, no clickbait, she can actually do this, and she most likely will in the final arc to defeat Sukuna. She genuinely is the key to saving everybody except, of course, Yuji, because the way she has to do this will involve killing Yuji. Now, I didn't come up with the crux or the core of this theory myself. This actually comes from someone called Saint Sleepy on Reddit, so shout out them. And I'll be linking the original post in the description as well, because my god, this is a great idea that they came up with, and I definitely agree with this. And it's off of this that I'm going to be expanding off my own ideas as well. And of course, before we even start, if you like JJK, please do be sure to subscribe. I have a ton of JJK content on the channel, what ifs, theories like this, discussions versus battles, and the bunch. So if you like Jujutsu Kaisen, hey, consider subscribing. And of course, thank you to all the special raid and honored one members of the channel, which is just that guy Trey. Alright, now to kickstart off this theory, how does she have a way of killing Yuji and Sukuna? Well, I guess Yuji makes sense, anyone could kill Yuji, and I guess by extension that would include Sukuna, because if you kill Yuji, then of course Sukuna dies as well. So if you look at it that way, then of course, yes, everyone could technically kill Sukuna. But of course, that's not the point of this video. She genuinely has a way of killing him that no one else can, and it's probably the way it's gonna go down. Now, I guess before I actually explain why, it's important to state that Nobara does have significance to the end of the story. Now, if we look back at the panel with Yuji, and when he's speaking to Megumi, when he says, "What happened to Kugisaki?" all Yuji says is, "Oh, I get it." An interesting point to bring up is that Saint Sleepy says that the reason that Megumi didn't verbally reveal to Yuji that Nobara survived the Shibuya incident is because he didn't want Sukuna to hear, and basically saying that the reason Yuji or Megumi don't say she did or she didn't is because they want to keep this ace in the hole to basically be the thing to defeat Sukuna if he's revived. Personally, I don't agree with this, because for this to be the case, that would mean Megumi would also have to resign to Nobara being the one to kill Yuji, which I definitely don't think Megumi wants. As we saw the angel thing, Megumi doesn't want Yuji to die in any way, and even with Yuji himself, he was willing to die with the angel, so I guess that does make sense. So it is possible. I'm not saying it's not true, I'm just saying I don't actually think that's the reason. But the reason I'm bringing this up is because clearly it's not clear if she's dead or alive. I do think if she was dead, they would have just said so, and I do think that the death she got wasn't that great. I mean, don't get me wrong, it was cool, but it definitely could have been, I guess, more stretched out or dramatized, if you know what I mean. But it wasn't, so that's why I really don't think that's where she died. Again, maybe she really just did die there, but it feels just so anticlimactic to not even give her that big of a spread or anything that crazy. Like, seriously, they didn't even have time to mourn her. There's no, "Oh, Nobara's gone, this will be for Nobara." No one thinks that. No one thinks back on, like, I have to do this for her. So I just don't think she's dead, because if she was, it would have been said, and if she did die, this would be a pretty, again, anticlimactic, boring, and honestly just, I would even argue, bad death, because the thing that makes death great, okay, well, I did not mean for it to come out like that. Death isn't great, but I guess in stories, is because you can see how characters react to the death, or see how characters mourn to the death, and see how it affects the characters moving on from that point. Genuinely so. If not, it feels like people just died and no one cares. If Nobara is really dead and nobody gave a shit, and nobody's even thought about her, reacted in any way, or even mourned her remotely beside Yuji grabbing his fist for 1/10 of the panel, then that would be insanely bad writing, and I really just do not think GEGE AKUTAMI is a bad author. I just don't think he is. And I do think if he wanted her dead, he would have said so. This is being left vague for a reason. Now again, if you truly think she's dead and I couldn't convince you there, the rest of this video is kind of pointless, I'm not gonna lie, because she's dead, so the theory can't happen. But I did need to clear that up before I got the comments that, oh yeah, she's dead. Again, if you think she's dead, that's fine. It's not like I can confirm that she's dead or alive. I'm not the author. I'm just giving evidence on why I think she is alive and why that's far more likely that she is. Now to get into the crux of the theory. The thing is, we've seen that Nobara can damage things that have connections. So obviously, when Nobara was fighting Eso and Shietsu, alongside Yuji on the side, she was able to actually affect them because their curse technique was on her body. So basically, because there's a connection between things, this is how her straw doll curse technique basically works. She can hit a resonance and just damage both things, which we've seen several times. I don't think I really need to explain this because it's been shown so many times, even just in season 1 of the anime, but that's pretty much how her technique works. And what's even crazy is that we saw in Shibuya, this is something that worked really well against Mahito, because of course all of his transfigured humans are basically connected to him. But even more so when Mahito makes a clone of himself. As we saw in Shibuya, he made 2 clones and one of the clones was trying to do other miscellaneous things. When she hits the clone of resonance, it damaged the main body. It did equal damage to it and it was basically fucking him up. Now think about that. Does that sound familiar? 2 people, Yuji and Sukuna. If nobody uses this technique on Yuji, it will affect Sukuna. And now I just want to clarify, I do not don't mean this because they're in the same body, because obviously if someone kills Yuji and Sukuna's inside of him, then Sukuna will obviously die as well. Well, if you use cursed energy. That is not what I mean. Now, actually, this banks on my theory that I made that Megumi is going to resurrect Sukuna. I made this a couple months ago. I think the theory is very good. I would highly recommend checking that video out. A part of that theory is that Megumi is going to summon Sukuna out of Yuji using his 10 Shadows technique. Now again, I know he can't do that, or none of his techniques can do that right now. If you actually want to understand why I think this, or the whole theory behind that, again, just check out that video. I think it's a great theory that I came up with myself that time. The point being, I do think Sukuna and Yuji are going to separate in the final arc. Now, whether Megumi is going to be the one to do this or not doesn't actually matter. So my theory could be half true, and this Nobara theory would still be correct. Even though I think Megumi is going to be the one to release Sukuna out of Yuji and separate them, it is possible that maybe someone else can do it. But regardless, that's not the point. I think it's pretty clear that by the end of the series, these two are not going to be in the same body. So whether Yuji's going to actually fight full-powered Sukuna, which obviously he can't, but I don't know, maybe some people say that's going to happen. Maybe Yuji's going to be special grade, who knows? Maybe he gets his curse techniques, or maybe he just gets the flames. However so it happens, they are most likely going to separate. How do you think that will happen? Once Sukuna's 20 fingers and he's just a calamity on a rampage, doesn't matter if their bodies are separated, and maybe Sukuna's out in the real world and Yuji is at the same time, they're still going to be connected because Yuji is still his vessel, even if Sukuna is no longer inside of him. So that's the point of this theory. Now, this is actually something that Saint Sleepy doesn't say. He actually thinks that this is going to save Yuji. I think this is actually what's going to kill Yuji and basically save the world and end the final arc, because the way I see it's going to work is that Nobara is going to have to kill Yuji to kill Sukuna, and of course, even if they're separated, it would still be connected because, you know, Sukuna's been inside of him for so long. So I guess it does matter on how Sukuna comes out of Yuji. So that process does matter, because it is possible that maybe the link between the two wouldn't exist, but I do think, because again, there's so many ways that could happen, they would still be connected in some way. So if Nobara attacks Yuji with the resonance, this would also affect full-powered Sukuna. So think about it. If Nobara kills Yuji and say Sukuna's out in the real world just wreaking havoc or whatever, or he's battling everyone, he would have no way to defend against this. This would just kill him. Just like how Mahito had no way to defend against it, the main body, when the clone was getting fucked up. And again, this damages the soul directly, so it's not like Sukuna can actually defend against this, because if it hits Yuji's soul, it's going to hit Sukuna's. This is a pretty interesting theory, and it's pretty cool because then it would end the series of Yuji sacrificing himself to again kill Sukuna, which has been foreshadowed so much. I actually think Yuji's gonna survive in the end of the series. He's been foreshadowed so badly to die. He's been asking to die so many times, and I guess he's died twice already, but I just don't think he's gonna have a permanent death. I think it's gonna be one of those things where he wished he had died, but he's just gonna be the one who survives in the end. There's just so many red flags at this point. I just think he's gonna survive, if that makes sense. I'm probably wrong. I mean, the series is probably gonna end with him dying. It does seem like GEGE is going down that route, but hey, he might try to throw us off. I do think that this is gonna be true, or at least she's gonna have some major relevance, or this plotline could come into effect. So maybe she's not gonna kill Yuji and Sukuna like this, but maybe this is gonna be a massive plot point to actually defeat Sukuna by having her attack Yuji, because again, just makes too much sense. And I do think Kugisaki is just too important of a character to just leave out all this time and to just be so hazy with her death and poorly handle it after she had died. I just think this seems to be the way that it's gonna go. But nonetheless, that is pretty much this theory. Now, what do you guys think about this theory? Do you truly think that Kugisaki is going to be the one who stops full-powered Sukuna? Again, maybe she won't actually be the one who ends up killing him, but it is possible that this technique will come to play in the final arc, and I do believe with the foreshadowing of Yuji willing to kill himself, and also with Nobara's personality of her willing to do these things, like think about this, she truly would be willing to do this if it meant saving the world, and if Yuji was truly resigned to it. As much as she wouldn't want to do it, I do think she would go along with it, because hey, she's just that girl. But yes, do you agree with it, or do you disagree with it? Or do you agree with parts of the theory? Let me know in the comments down below. I would love to hear it. And also, if you enjoyed the video or you like Jujutsu Kaisen content like this, be sure to subscribe and check out other videos on my channel. I have a ton of Jujutsu Kaisen content just like this, a ton of theories, like again, the Megumi resurrecting Sukuna theory, discussions, like I did a whole discussion about what the final arc could be, and in that video we actually predicted that a kaiju is going to be the final villain of the series. We actually predicted that a couple months in advance. I even do power scaling videos where I discuss how powerful characters are, such as how strong Yuki is, or how strong Ryu is, and also a ton of versus battles on my channel, so like Yuki versus Yuta, and a bunch of videos like that. So yes, if you like Jujutsu Kaisen, it would be much appreciated if you do subscribe, and a like wouldn't hurt as well if you enjoyed the video. And also thank you to all the channel members on the channel. So for special grades, we have Trey by the way, or that guy Trey, and for the grade 1 sorcerers, we have Corey G, Trigger, and Camden Moore. Thank you, you guys are all legends. It is much appreciated, guys. Thank you lots. But yeah, that's pretty much the video. Shout out again, Saint Sleepy. His main thread is in the description. Alright guys, take care and have a nice day. Peace out.